Hi, this video will demonstrate how to simplify complex rational expressions. And what we mean by complex is now we not only have a rational expression, we have irrational expressions within a rational expression. In other words, fractions in the numerator and the denominator. Now there are two different ways of doing this. The first way is to simplify the numerator and then simplify the denominator. However, I find that most students prefer to simplify both at once. So we're going to do that method. Be aware that the book and the online tutorials may show you the other method, but this method we're going to simplify both at once. So if I'm going to do them all, I want to look at all the denominators. I have an m, a 2, a 3, and an m. And I'm looking for the least common multiple of all denominators. So m, 2, 3, and m. Now the first thing I'm going to do is look at my numbers and try to figure out what the LCM is of my numbers. I've got a 2 and a 3. So the smallest number that both of those go into would be a 6. And now I'm going to look at my variables. I have an m and an m. So it's just going to be 6m. So now, once I come out with my LCM, I'm going to multiply every single term by the LCM. Okay, so every term is getting multiplied by the 6 and the m. And then I just want to write what would be left. Now, if you do this correctly, all your denominators should cancel out. Okay? So for example, I've got an m and an m. That would go to 1, and I'd just be left with the 6 and the 2, and that would give me 12. Over here, I've got a 2. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 6 3 times. All right, so I'm left with a 3, an m, and an m. So that's going to be plus. So I'm going to have plus 3m squared. Okay, and now all that is going to be over. All right, my 3 and my 6 cancel and leave me a 2. I've got a 2, an m, and an m, so this is 2m squared. And over here, my m's would cancel. I'm left with minus 3 times 6, negative 18. Okay. Now I could do further simplification of these two. It's not really going to help me a lot. In the numerator, I could pull out a 3 and get m squared plus 4. I just kind of rearranged that a little bit too. That does not factor into anything else. Okay, it looks like Mr. Formula, but it does not because this is not subtract. And down here I could pull out a 2 and get m squared minus 9. That would factor further, but it's not really going to help me. So either way you want to leave your answer. This is a little bit more simplified. Okay. But to review, we simply multiply each term by our least common multiple. In this case it was 6m. Okay, and now I have another example. And we're going to do pretty much the same thing. We're going to look at all our denominators and come up with the LCM. Now, if I just have a whole number here, I don't have to really worry about it. The denominator is 1, right? So it's not really going to figure into my least common multiple. And in this example, I have 2x's as the denominator, so that's just going to be my LCM. So in order to simplify this, I'm just going to multiply every single term by x. Okay? The important point is not to forget about just your numbers. Even though they don't have denominators, you still have to multiply them by the LCM. If you don't, you will get it wrong. Okay, so now I have 3 times x. That becomes 3x. And once again, if I do this right, my denominators should go away. The x's go to 1 and leave me a plus 2. And in the denominator here, I've got 4 times x, so that's 4x. And here, my x's cancel, go to 1, leave me minus 3. All right? So again, the important thing here is once you come up with your LCM by looking at your denominators, make sure if you have any numbers or any variables that have a denominator of 1, so it's not written, that you also multiply those by the LCM.